I'm gonna start by saying I am a fan of your show, and I thought that the first half of the season was the best you guys have done yet. Even though there were some losses to some key characters, I just was really a fan of the direction of the show and the way you guys filmed it. It was just really well done. Talk a little bit about the previous season of making it, and maybe what would surprise people to learn about the making of Fear the Walking Dead? If there's anything to surprise people.
The previous...
Like the third season?
This season
last
3?
season, or just in general, like maybe what would surprise people?
You mean the first half of season 4 or season 3?
There's a lot going on with that question.
I'll leap out with this one. How about, I think the first thing that they may want to know, that I think it took us a moment to learn while we're shooting season 4, was that even stylistically what we were actually doing, that we weren't doing a lot of like big camera moves and steady cams and things like that we were used to. That each season has its own look. And if you go back now, each one has its own unique look and feel and color. And now we were doing things that are a bit more stationary, and we're letting it be more performance-based and trusting the performers that, you're going to come in and the blocking, and it's really done like, with great images, almost like a proscenium stage, which is really lovely to see. So it really just allows more breath in the show, and I think that's a new thing. And I think we caught up to it after a while. We're like, oh, wait a minute. There's, when I was like, Juan, why aren't you on that steady cam working those singles? And he was like, oh no, because we're just doing locked off shots. I was like, oh, why?
Then we saw the beautiful book.
We saw the beautiful book, and we saw that it was about the landscape and looking at areas of isolation and really centering on characters.
Completely. You guys launched. You returned August 12th. You launched your new trailer today. For fans of the show, what can you tease about what's to come? And what's the going rate on spoilers?
I mean, we're never allowed to say anything ever, are we?
I think there's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of drama. There's a storm. I mean, the stakes are really high. Like, I think, for something to be funny, it needs to be very dramatic, very hard to overcome. So we have a lot of those. Like, we have to overcome nature. Like, that's hard to do. We have to wait until the storm passes to keep going. And the funny things happen. Characters will come up, and they bring so much to the show and a different perspective of how to survive. And that really adds to this second half. It just feels the second half with so much life and so much, because we lost so much. So they come and they just put a lot of confetti on our faces all the time. And it's just like, no, it's like somebody comes and they're like, boom, 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 and you're like, ah, it's like constant.
There are a lot of interesting pairings. We just got a lot of confetti thrown on us.
We just literally had confetti thrown on our face.
I'm still covered in confetti, actually.
We just had a party and we're still on it.
Like, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Actual.
Well, yeah, that's what they gave us over at another
okay.
studio. So where's the confetti collider?
Yeah, come on,
Have you seen the
guys.
confetti?
I didn't step up. Listen, I did not know that was
Crap
an option.
mics, no cocktail.
I've heard that if you were to do that with actors who are then going to be on camera in another interview, it's frowned on.
I know, we really went there, though. We were excited about it.
They screwed you over good.
we went full
then.
out.
Yeah.
Great conviction.
Another thing as well, there's really interesting pairings to come, like unexpected pairings, and that drive a lot of tension. I guess one thing particularly is that because of the loss of Madison and Nick, Alicia is now the only remaining member of the Clark family, and so that allows her to finally be her own person. And I mean, it's a harrowing and awful, place to be for her, but it allows her to find then her own narrative, which is very exciting.
For all of you, when you get the script and it says, you're going to be covered in the goop and the blood, how often do you dread it, or are you like, just, okay, I got it, it's part of the show?
It's part of the show. We don't even think about it now.
That way. I do. I thought it was going to be awesome, those parts, and then it was like the oil, my first episode. Right. Then it was the water park, and it was freezing. And I'm reading these things, and I wasn't thinking to what extent the experience is actually filming when you're in water, and now you've established yourself as wet, and now for the rest of the episode you have to be wet, and it's freezing, and so every episode I open it, I'm like, oh god. Oh, I don't have to be wet. Wait, so now it's hot. I hope I have to be wet. Wait, it's freezing. Oh, God, do I have to be all dirty? oh, got blood. Oh, God. Then I'm like, oh my God, that means, okay, so for 16 hours, wait, how many days am I working? So now I'm going to be covered in, okay, so that it becomes a real logistical experience.
I did a
And
lot of
so-
mud wrestling this season. But
Yeah.
I think one thing Lenny mentioned yesterday, like I think it's so charming to watch actors new to the franchise. Like, I mean, we were just new a second ago, and then there's some really awesome, exciting new characters coming as well. And to watch them kind of be initiated into the blood and the dirt and the grime and the stunt world. And then there's this amazing character that's basically a virgin to the apocalypse. Like the writers did this beautiful, really interesting thing. And I just loved that character, that there was somebody that's actually been shielded from the knowledge of what the world has become and is really ill-prepared to survive in it. So that was an interesting turn.
One of the things that's really cool is it's an ensemble cast, which means that it's like a group effort, which means you have some downtime, but you're also, when you're working, it's like, I think a lot of people don't realize the hours that go in to make a show like this and how long it takes to film the action. So can you talk a little bit about the camaraderie that happens? Like, are you ever going off set together and like getting food or playing rock band on set? Like, what you know what I mean? I've heard that from some casts.
We went to dance. What was that place called?
Broken Spoke.
Broken Spoke. We learned how to dance the what step? The
Two-step.
Two-stepping.
That was really fun. Frank was really quick at it. It was really cool.
It's one of those things, you work with these people and you see this cast and your crew more than you see your family most of the time. Like, you were working with them 12 hours a day, and then most of the time, like almost 7 days of a week sometimes, like 6 days. It's a lot. And so you kind of are always surrounded by each other. So naturally you do, once you finish a day, you kind of go, well, is anyone up for a drink, or does anyone want to go and like do something? It's because
Watch a movie in 3 months.
yeah.
Watch a movie.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just kind of built in. They just become your family, you know?
I think it's also really important that even outside of us, it's really important for our crew, because however many hours we do, and as you say, we do get kind of downtime, we do get days off, our crew are at it 5 days a week, and they're there before we arrive and they're there after we've gone. So getting them through it is as important as getting us through it,
That's the
if
thing
not
that-
more important.
That's the thing that I wanted to echo that as well. Like, I had a chance to direct an episode this season, and to get on the side of the crew and to see how in great spirits they are. They're constantly there way before everyone else. And then they've done all this prep work as well. And then it's just about great team building. And they're really such a great team. So they are truly the backbone of our show. Yeah, it's awesome.
Completely. I'm almost out of time with you. I have a few fun questions I've been asking everyone that's coming through. It's for everyone, including you. Right? Just throwing that out there.
Oh, by the way, can I just say, shut up, Garrett.
Right.
Garrett's really talkative.
What TV show would you like to guest spot on?
Fear the Walking Dead. Totally kidding.
This goes for everybody.
I don't do guest spots anymore. So. Sorry, what? No.
I'll do Stranger Things.
What would you like to be on?
I'd like to be on The Simpsons.
Hey, that's a great one.
Matt Groening was just in here, literally before you walked in.
That's not going to help me now, though.
Right, but
is it?
I know this for the next time I talk to him.
Okay, next time you
See?
talk to him, I'd like to be on The Simpsons.
Better Call Saul's pretty good.
The pressure is on.
It is. I think This Is Us would be really cool to go have a fun little journey on. I think it'd be interesting.
I would have loved Mad Men if Mad Men was still on. Like, I would have loved to like dress up like in those costumes, like the whole makeup. Oh, I would love that. Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. Harrowing. Hard. Full on.
I would do Stranger Things. I just want to. I don't know. I'm into it now.
She's worked Stranger Things into almost every answer today.
Today.
I think my son has like a T-shirt of Stranger Things.
Are you
how
playing the
about
junket
Stranger
game today
Things?
with Stranger Things?
What's the what game?
Do you know the junket game?
No.
The junket game, you know the junket game. The junket game is when you basically are given a word or a term before the interview, and you have to work it into every interview.
It's funny because like a squid in a hubcap.
No, this.
I mean, that's really how we landed in 4B. Like, you could just get marooned like a squid in a hubcap, and then,
What?
you know, like a squid in a hubcap.
I know what you're saying, too.
Do you?
Garrett,
let me-
Garrett, you.
Yeah.
I went.
Which one?
He answered.
Oh, you did?
Better Call Saul. I'll take a guess on Deadwood.
We are at Comic-Con, and a lot of people here like collecting things, myself included. Is there anything that you collect?
Children.
With the microphone, please.
Children.
Collect.
I'm actually trying to get rid of things.
Ah,
I'm the opposite right now. I feel like trapped by stuff, and I'm trying to not collect things. It's my
I love-
anti-collector answer. Sorry.
no, it's totally valid.
I'm trying to liberate myself from accumulating things.
I love books. I've been collecting books. I have a lot of books. So I guess, yeah, I read a lot. And this year, so much happened. I had to read a lot. I went back home with like 15 books that were really heavy. I was like, oh.
I've been collecting suitcases because I'm such a nomad right now. I'm just like, every time I travel somewhere, I'm like, oh gosh, I brought back 2 more. Like, oh. Like, so it's, yes.
It's very nerdy, and it's going to sound so whatever, but I collect stories because I'm a storyteller, and so I'm writing down stories all the time. You know, I'm Al. I am Al.
IRL.
We need that on a T-shirt.
What do
I am
collect?
Al.
What do I collect?
We're all looking at you. Look, what do you collect?
Nice. It's really personal. I have a couple of Jane Austen second editions that are. I mean, that would be a really expensive thing
That's
to
pretty cool.
collect, but I was gifted
Yeah,
a couple.
That's
A lot
very,
of book lovers
Yeah.
here. Yeah, I collect signed first editions. I like those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nerds.
that's awesome. My
suitcases.
my last question for
So
you guys
shallow.
before you walk out: is there a TV show you've watched all the way through more than once?
Yes.
The Golden Girls.
With the microphone, though, of course.
Oh, The Golden Girls. I've watched every episode, probably 10 times, 20 times, every episode of every season.
MASH. MASH is good. I'll watch that.
Friends.
Garrett said mash.
Narcos.
Oh.
I've watched The West Wing, beginning to end, 4 times.
Really?
Yes, and because I did it for me, and then when my kids were old enough, I did it with my kids. And then they wanted to do it again, so we did it again.
Is it just TV shows?
Yeah, there's a separate question that's movies, but I'm gonna get the hook.
But that's
they
a
will
really
not let me
cool,
go.
like,
You know,
emotionally sharing it with someone. Yeah, the second time.
phone, of course.
Sorry. I've watched Harry Potter, like that movie series. I mean, countless, maybe like once a year I do it since they all came out. Like, that's what I've done.
I'm like that with Face Off.
Yeah, but that's fantastic. You what TV show?
I actually collected and watched I Love Lucy every single episode 3 times. It's
That-
an actual project I did. I've seen every single.
I mean, that's also an amazing. Her work on that is amazing. Just, I have no words. Did everyone answer?
Well, I think anyone I truly care about that hasn't seen The Wire, the greatest television show ever made, I will sit and watch it with them again, and it stands up to multiple viewings. I know, but like that's like a citizenship requirement.
Listen,
And I think we wouldn't have our show if we didn't have. I think it affected every show that came after. I'll just throw it down.
I agree with you. I really cannot wait to see the
Big
second half, or when it comes back in August. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. Thank you.
Thank